The discovery that changed everything. The red sands of Mars stretched endlessly beyond the reinforced windows of Research Station Alpha. But Dr. Sarah Chen barely noticed the familiar landscape. Her attention was completely focused on the readings, dancing across her holographic display. After 12 years of theoretical work and 3 years of failed experiments, the numbers finally made sense. "David, come look at this," she called to her research partner, Dr. David Kim, who was calibrating. The quantum resonance chambers on the other side of the laboratory. The massive underground facility had been humanity's most ambitious project, carved deep into the Martian crust to house the experimental phase drive technology. David hurried over, his boots echoing in the vast chamber that housed their prototype. The device stood 30 feet tall, a gleaming cylinder wrapped in countless sensors and energy conduits. It hummed with barely contained power, the result of humanity's most advanced scientific achievement. "Sarah, these readings are incredible," David said, his voice filled with awe as he studied the data. "The quantum field is completely stable. We've actually done it. We've created a controllable wormhole." Sarah nodded, her heart racing with excitement and terror. The phase drive worked by folding space-time itself, creating a tunnel between 2 points in the universe. Unlike the theoretical warp drives that had dominated science fiction for centuries, this technology didn't move ships faster than light. It moved space itself, allowing instantaneous travel across any distance. "The energy requirements are enormous," Sarah said, pulling up another display. "But we can sustain the field for exactly 47 seconds before the quantum matrix collapses. That's enough time for a small ship to pass through." David walked over to the observation window that looked down into the testing chamber. Below them sat the Aurora, a sleek spacecraft designed specifically for this moment. Commander Marcus Webb, a former military pilot who had volunteered for the most dangerous mission in human history, was already running through his pre-flight checks. "Commander Webb, are you ready for this?" Sarah asked through the intercom. Marcus's voice came back clear and steady. "As ready as anyone can be for jumping into a hole in space, Dr. Chen. All systems are green. Life support is functioning perfectly. The navigation computer is locked onto Proxima Centauri." Sarah felt a chill run down her spine. Proxima Centauri was over 4 light-years away. Even at the speed of light, it would take 4 years to reach the nearest star system. But if their calculations were correct, Marcus would be there in less than a second. "Beginning final countdown," David announced. "Phase drive charging to full power." The laboratory filled with a low thrumming sound as massive generators deep beneath the station began feeding power into the quantum field generators. The air itself seemed to vibrate with energy, and Sarah could feel the hair on her arms standing up from the electromagnetic fields. "Field generators online," she reported. "Quantum resonance at optimal frequency. Beginning space-time fold in 10 seconds. The countdown felt like an eternity. Sarah watched the power readings climb steadily toward the critical threshold. Everything they had worked for, everything humanity had dreamed of, depended on the next few moments. 3.2. Initiate. The phase drive erupted in brilliant blue light. The air in front of the Aurora shimmered and twisted, reality bending like heated glass. Then, suddenly, a perfect circular opening appeared in the fabric of space itself. Through the opening, they could see the red glow of Proxima Centauri and the alien stars of another solar system. "Wormhole stable," David shouted over the roar of the generators. "Commander Webb, you are cleared for departure." The Aurora's engines fired, propelling the ship toward the impossible opening. As it passed through the wormhole, there was a flash of light that momentarily blinded everyone in the laboratory. When their vision cleared, the ship was gone. "Commander, Webb, do you copy?" Sarah called into the radio. For a moment, there was only the crackling of static. Then Marcus's voice came through, filled with wonder and disbelief. "I copy, Dr. Chen. I'm here. I'm actually here at Proxima Centauri." The journey felt instantaneous. One moment I was on Mars, the next I was staring at an alien sun. The star is beautiful, and I can see 3 planets in orbit around it. Sarah felt tears of joy streaming down her face. They had done it. Humanity had achieved faster-than-light travel. The stars were no longer distant points of light, but destinations that could be reached in the blink of an eye. "Commander, how do you feel?" David asked. "Any ill effects from the transition?" "I feel fine," Marcus replied. "Better than fine. Actually, it's like I've just witnessed the birth of a new age for humanity. We can explore the entire galaxy now." But as Sarah began preparations for Marcus's return journey, she had no idea that their historic achievement had created consequences far beyond their understanding. The massive energy discharge from the phase drive had sent gravitational waves rippling through the fabric of space-time itself. These waves traveled at the speed of light, carrying with them the unmistakable signature of artificial wormhole technology on distant worlds. Ancient monitoring stations detected the disturbance and immediately transmitted alerts to the Galactic Authority. For the first time in 10,000 years, a primitive species had developed independent, faster-than-light technology. The implications were staggering and terrifying. High Executor Vorthok received the alert while reviewing conquest reports from the Outer Rim territories. The massive alien stood over 8 feet tall, with chitinous armor covering his insectoid body. His 4 eyes focused on the data streaming across his command display, and his mandibles clicked in agitation. "Impossible," he growled in the harsh language of the hegemony. "The monitoring stations must be malfunctioning. No species develops FTL technology without our guidance." But the data was undeniable. The gravitational wave signature was consistent with artificial wormhole generation, and the source was a small yellow star on the edge of the galaxy. The system was home to a species that had only recently achieved interplanetary travel. "Prepare the enforcement fleet," Vorthok commanded. "We have a Code 7 violation to address." Within hours, 12 massive warships were racing toward Earth's solar system. Each vessel was over 2 miles long and armed with weapons capable of reducing entire planets to cosmic dust. The Galactic Authority had maintained order for millennia by ensuring that no species could develop independent FTL technology. Any civilization that achieved such capabilities was either absorbed into the hegemony or destroyed. Meanwhile, Marcus Webb had successfully returned to Mars, and the entire human race was celebrating humanity's greatest achievement. News of the successful FTL test spread across Earth and the Mars colonies within hours. President Maria Santos addressed the world from the United Nations headquarters in New York. "Today, humanity has taken its first step toward joining the galactic community," she announced. "Our scientists have proven that there are no limits to human ingenuity and determination. The stars are no longer beyond our reach." But the celebration was short. 3 days after the successful test, Earth's deep space monitoring stations detected the approaching alien fleet. The ships were massive, moving at incredible speeds, and their trajectory was aimed directly at Earth. Admiral James Harrison, commander of the United Earth Defense Force, stood in the war room beneath the Pentagon, staring at the tactical display with growing dread. The alien ships were unlike anything in human military doctrine. They were clearly advanced beyond anything humanity could build, and they were definitely not friendly. "Sir, we're receiving a transmission from the lead ship," reported communications. "Officer Lisa Park. It's being translated into multiple human languages somehow." "Put it through," Admiral Harrison ordered. The main screen flickered and showed the imposing figure of High Executive Vorthok. His alien features were both magnificent and terrifying, and his voice carried the authority of an ancient empire. "Primitive species of the third planet," Vorthok began, his words translated into perfect English. "You have committed a grave violation of galactic law. You have developed illegal, faster-than-light technology without authorization from the Galactic Authority." Admiral Harrison stepped forward. "This is Admiral James Harrison of the United Earth Defense Force. We were not aware that such laws existed. This is our first contact with an alien civilization." Vorthok's mandibles clicked in what might have been laughter. "Ignorance is not an excuse. Your species has developed technology that threatens the stability of galactic civilization. You will immediately surrender all research data related to your FTL drive and submit to integration into the hegemony." "And if we refuse?" Harrison asked, though he already knew the answer. "Then your species will be classified as a galactic threat and eliminated accordingly. You have 48 hours to comply." The transmission ended, leaving the war room in stunned silence. Humanity had reached for the stars, only to discover that the galaxy was ruled by an empire that viewed human achievement as a crime punishable by extinction. President Santos arrived at the Pentagon within hours, bringing with her Dr. Chen and the entire phase drive research team. The Situation Room was crowded with military leaders, scientists, and government officials, all trying to understand the magnitude of the crisis. "Dr. Chen, is there any way we can defend ourselves against these ships?" President Santos asked. Sarah looked at the tactical data showing the alien fleet's capabilities. "Madam President, their technology is thousands of years ahead of ours. Their ships are massive, heavily armed, and they're using some kind of hyperspace drive that's completely different from our phase drive technology. But our phase drive has one advantage," Marcus Webb interjected. "It can take us anywhere in the galaxy instantly. Their ships seem to be limited to specific routes through hyperspace." Admiral Harrison nodded thoughtfully. "So we can run, but we can't hide forever. Eventually, they'll find us." "Maybe we don't have to hide," Sarah said quietly. "Maybe we can find allies." President Santos looked at her with interest. "What do you mean?" "If this galactic authority has been controlling FTL technology for thousands of years, there must be other species that resent their domination. Maybe we can share our phase drive technology with them." The room fell silent as everyone considered the implications. Humanity was about to make a choice that would determine not just their own fate, but the fate of the entire galaxy. When humanity refused to kneel, the 48-hour deadline approached like a storm on the horizon. In the depths of the Pentagon's most secure conference room, President Maria Santos faced the most difficult decision in human history. Around the table sat her most trusted advisors, military leaders, and the scientists who had made humanity's greatest achievement possible. "We could surrender the technology," suggested Secretary of Defense Robert Mitchell. "Live under their rule, but at least survive as a species." "And what kind of survival would that be?" President Santos replied. We'd be slaves to an empire that sees our greatest achievement as a crime. That's not the humanity I know. Dr. Sarah Chen had been quietly studying the alien ship's energy signatures for the past 2 days. Madam President, I've been analyzing their hyperspace technology. It's incredibly advanced, but it's also restrictive. They can only travel along predetermined routes, like highways through space. Our phase drive doesn't have that limitation. What are you suggesting? Santos asked. I'm suggesting that we might be able to level the playing field. If we can get phase drive technology to other oppressed species, we could start a resistance movement. Admiral Harrison leaned forward. That's assuming there are other species willing to fight. For all we know, the entire galaxy is happy under hegemony rule. There's only one way to find out, Commander Marcus Webb said. I volunteered to take the Aurora on a reconnaissance mission. We can jump to nearby star systems and see if we can find anyone willing to listen. President Santos stood and walked to the window overlooking the Potomac River. Below, life continued as normal. People went about their daily routines, unaware that their species faced extinction. If we do this, there's no going back. We'll be committing humanity to a war we might not win. With respect, Madam President, Sarah said, we're already at war. The question is whether we fight or surrender. Santos turned back to the room. Then we fight. Dr. Chen, how quickly can you prepare portable phase drive units? Give me 24 hours and I can have 3 prototype units ready for installation on small ships. Do it. Commander Webb, prepare for launch immediately after. The deadline expires. Admiral Harrison, I want our entire fleet ready for evacuation protocols if this goes badly. As the team dispersed to their tasks, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that they were about to change the course of galactic history. The phase drive technology that had taken humanity to the stars was now going to be their weapon against an empire that had ruled for millennia. 20-4 hours later, High Executor Vorthok received humanity's response to his ultimatum. President, Santos appeared on every communication frequency, her message broadcast across the solar system and beyond. To the Galactic Authority and any who would listen, she began. Humanity refuses to surrender its right to explore the stars. We will not kneel to an empire that views progress as a crime. We choose freedom over safety, exploration over servitude. The stars belong to all of us, not to those who would hoard them. Vorthok's mandibles clicked in rage. Foolish primitives. They have chosen extinction. All ships prepare for planetary bombardment. But before the hegemony fleet could act, Commander Webb and the Aurora vanished from the solar system, carrying with them the hope of the human race. Webb's first jump took him to the Wolf 359 system, where long-range sensors had detected signs of artificial structures. What he found there changed everything he thought he knew about the galaxy. The system was filled with massive space stations, but they were clearly in ruins. Some had been destroyed by weapons fire, others had simply been abandoned. As Webb approached the largest station, he detected faint life signs coming from the interior. This is Commander Marcus Webb of the Earth vessel Aurora. He broadcast on all frequencies. Is anyone receiving this transmission? The response came in broken, synthesized English. Earthship, ... You must leave immediately. The hegemony will detect your presence and destroy you as they destroyed us. Webb ignored the warning and docked with the damaged station. Inside, he found the survivors of a species called the Kishari. They were tall, graceful beings with silver skin and large, intelligent eyes. Their leader, A scientist named Zara told Webb a story that filled him with both sadness and hope. "We were once a proud civilization," Zara explained as she led Webb through the ruins of what had been a thriving research facility. "We developed our own method of faster-than-light travel, a technology we called the Star Bridge. When the hegemony discovered our achievement, they gave us the same ultimatum they gave you." "What happened?" Webb asked. "We refused to surrender. Our freedom, the hegemony destroyed our home world and enslaved our people. Only a few hundred of us escaped to hideouts like this one." Webb felt a surge of anger and determination. How many other species have suffered the same fate? Dozens. The hegemony has been suppressing FTL technology for 10,000 years. Any species that develops independent space travel is either absorbed into their empire or destroyed. But your technology is different. Zara showed Webb detailed scans of the Aurora's phase drive. "Your wormhole technology creates point-to-point connections anywhere in the galaxy. The hegemony's hyperspace drives are limited to their predetermined network. They can't predict where you'll appear or where you'll go next." "Then we can fight back," Webb said. "More than that," Zara replied with growing excitement. "If you shared your technology with the surviving free species, we could coordinate attacks across the galaxy. The hegemony's strength comes from there. Control of FTL travel. Take that away, and they become vulnerable." Webb made a decision that would echo across the stars. "I'll share our phase drive technology with you, but I need your help to contact other resistance groups." Over the next week, Webb and Zara worked together to establish a network of communication across the galaxy. Using the Kishari's knowledge of hidden bases and refugee populations, they began reaching out to dozens of species that had suffered under hegemony rule. The response was overwhelming. The Vortani, a warrior species that had been reduced to slave labor, immediately volunteered to build phase drive units for their hidden fleet. The Ethereal Collective, a group of energy beings who had been imprisoned in containment fields, used their natural abilities to enhance the phase drive's efficiency. Even the peaceful gardeners, who had been forced to abandon their home worlds, offered their agricultural expertise to supply the growing resistance. Meanwhile, back on Earth, the hegemony fleet had surrounded the planet and was preparing for bombardment. But President Santos had one final card to play. "Dr. Chen, are you ready?" she asked from the emergency command center deep beneath the Rocky Mountains. Sarah nodded grimly. "All evacuation ships are equipped with phase drive units. We can relocate the entire human population to hidden bases throughout the galaxy, and the surprise we prepared for our unwelcome guests. The quantum mines are in position around Earth's orbit. When the hegemony ships begin their attack, they'll discover that humans don't go quietly." High Executor Vorthok stood on the bridge of his flagship, preparing to give the order that would eliminate humanity forever. "All ships, target the third planet. Prepare for full surface bombardment." But as his weapons charged, space around the hegemony fleet suddenly filled with small, invisible devices. The quantum mines that Earth's scientists had developed began activating, each one creating a miniature wormhole that redirected the aliens' weapon fire back at their own ships. "Impossible," Vorthok roared as his own weapons turned against him. "How are they doing this?" Before he could find an answer, ships began appearing all around the hegemony fleet. Kishari vessels, Vortani warships, ethereal energy constructs, and dozens of other species that had been thought extinct. All of them were equipped with phase drive technology, and all of them were ready for revenge. The battle was unlike anything the galaxy had ever witnessed. The hegemony fleet, accustomed to fighting enemies bound by their hyperspace network, found themselves facing opponents who could appear anywhere without warning. Every time they tried to form a battle line, enemy ships would appear behind them. Every time they attempted to retreat, their escape routes were blocked by forces that could move instantly across any distance. Commander Webb, now leading a mixed fleet of human and alien ships, coordinated the attack from the Aurora. All units, remember the plan. Hit them hard and fast, then jump to your next position. Don't give them time to adapt. The tide of battle turned quickly. The hegemony ships, massive and powerful but slow to maneuver, were being systematically destroyed by smaller, more agile vessels equipped with phase drive technology. Within hours, Vorthok's once mighty fleet was reduced to scattered debris, but the victory at Earth was only the beginning. Across the galaxy, resistance cells that had been hidden for centuries suddenly emerged, all equipped with phase drive technology and all determined to reclaim their freedom. The hegemony's control over the galaxy began to crumble as their hyperspace network became irrelevant. High Executor Vorthok, his flagship crippled and his fleet destroyed, sent a final transmission to the hegemony capital. "The humans have doomed us all," he said. "They have given independence to every species in the galaxy. Our empire is finished." 6 months later, President Santos stood before the first Galactic Council of Free Species. Representatives from hundreds of worlds had gathered on a neutral space station to establish a new form of galactic government based on cooperation rather than domination. "The age of the hegemony is over," Santos announced. "In its place, we offer something new. A galaxy where every species has the right to explore the stars, to develop their own technology, and to chart their own destiny." Dr. Sarah Chen, now appointed as the first director of galactic technology sharing, stepped forward. "The phase drive technology that started this revolution will be freely available to all species. No one will ever again be denied the right to reach for the stars." As the assembled delegates cheered, Commander Webb looked out at the stars visible through the station's massive viewport. Humanity had reached for the stars and found an empire that wanted to chain them down. But in breaking those chains, they had not only freed themselves, but had also liberated an entire galaxy. The phase drive had indeed shattered galactic rules and terrified the stars. But in doing so, it had also brought freedom to countless civilizations and proven that the human spirit could not be conquered by any force in the universe. The stars belonged to everyone now, and humanity had made sure it would stay that way forever. Asterisk.